6 minutes early. That's good. And we're in our budget workshop section, and we're going to hear from Human Resources, Ms. Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. As I was working on the budget this year, I started thinking about recruitment and retention and what we can do better from a benefits perspective. So if you will look at the first page of the handout that I gave to you, in the orange box, you'll see that we now have 5 generations in the workplace. So that's something that's not happened before. And each of these generations has different needs and wants out of their employers. So since the millennials and Gen Z will soon be making up the majority of our workforce, I thought we could look at their needs specifically as part of this. So all of the younger generations seem to look for, from their employers, paid time off, health insurance, retirement savings plans, meaningful work, a company that cares about personal and global ethics, social accountability, good work-life balance, fair compensation and benefits, flexible work schedule, mental health considerations, mentorship and growth opportunities, and learning and development opportunities. So you'll see that I have them classified by color, the green being the elements that I think the county does very well. The orange, we do pretty well, and the red, we have some need for improvement there. We also have to balance employee needs with other parameters and considerations that the county faces, which is inflation of operating expenses, revenue constraints, competitive pay and inflation, recruitment and retention of younger generations to the public sector, and succession planning when younger generations don't like to stay at one place. So if you turn to the next page, I've outlined some benefit ideas for us to consider, and most of these have little or no impact to our current budget, but I think they would greatly improve the employee experience here at the county. So I don't know if you want me to just briefly summarize, or if you want me to go through the details of each one.
I'd like you to go through the
Okay.
details.
All right, so vacation. If we make no other change this year, the one change that I feel like we need to make is eliminating our use it or lose it policy. So currently, we allow 2 years' worth of accrual to stay on the books, and we don't allow anyone to accrue anymore. So, for instance, if you've been here for less than, if you've been here around 5 years, you're getting 2 weeks vacation each year. So that means you can have 2 years' worth or 4 weeks on the books. And if you don't take your vacation because you work in the jail and we're always short and you can't take off, then you're going to lose it when it comes time to get your vacation again. So I think that is, it's something that we could change very easily, and it would make a huge impact.
But you and I visited about this, and it kind of, when you start thinking about it or looking at it, it's kind of backwards. Here we're punishing the ones that are at work all the time and never take off, and they're losing their vacation. Then you got somebody that doesn't show up, is always needing one more vacation hour to
Right.
learn, and they're okay. And the ones that are staying here working are losing it. So this is kind of a no-brainer to me when I thought about it in those terms.
Yeah, and the next one is simplifying the way we accrue. And the way we do it now is 1 to 9 years, we get 10 days. 10 years, you get 15 days. Then each year after that, you get an additional day, and then you get to 15 years and you get 20 days. So that is a lot to try to remember, and nobody seems to ever remember it. So what I would recommend doing with that is to change it, to like 1 to 5 years, you get a certain amount, or 1 to 4 years, 5 to 9, and then 10 years and 15 years. And we can discuss the details of, how exactly it breaks out, if we give 10 days after 5 years and then 12 days after 10 years, or whatever those details are, we can discuss later. Next, still related to vacation, is the maximum accrual.
Let me ask you, so are you still on the how it's occurred, the accrual process? How do we currently, when you go to work, do you just get advanced, or you don't get a vacation until you're here a year and then you
Correct.
get your 10 days?
Correct, you get it all at once.
So, I mean, do you get it at employment or after you've been here
1 year.
1 year?
After you've been here for 1 year, you get it.
So from day one through a year, there's no accrual of vacation?
Correct. The only thing you get is a couple of PTO days, depending on what time of the year you come, it's prorated.
You know, I've never worked at a place that you didn't earn a set number of hours per payday. And paid every 2 weeks, you know, whatever you earned through the year was divided out by the 26 paydays or whatever it is. And you'd earn like 2.3 hours or 4 hours or wherever you fell in that leave. So each payday that you worked, you incurred that number, and you weren't restricted to use it. I mean, once you built up 4 hours or 8 hours or 16 or whatever, you could take, you know, half a day or 2 days or whatever. To me, it's kind of a long span from a new hire to a year that they don't have the ability to use. I mean, things happen.
Right.
And whether they need to, you know, if they were through the course of the year, if they had worked 3 or 4 months and it occurred 2 or 3 days and they had an emergency or a family crisis, instead of being in a non-pay status, they could take those days that they had occurred, you know, up to that point and not be, you know, I guess, I don't know how it works. If they, you know, if they have to, then they're in a non-pay status when they take a day or 2 or whatever prior to it. And I think that's wrong to the employee, to have to wait a year instead of earning it as they, you know, whatever it works out to be at each payday.
We had an employee this payroll that took some time off, but his anniversary date wasn't until 2 weeks from now. So he was at admin no pay.
Yeah.
So he didn't get paid.
So he had been here for 11 months and 2 weeks, so he had to go no pay status instead of, I just think from an employee standpoint, I would prefer that it was earned by the payday, rather than waiting and have to work a full year. I mean, especially even the younger generation, with newlyweds and younger kids, there's gonna be instances where they need, at some point in that course of a year, to take a couple of days with their kids or their wife or whatever. And I just hate to see them not, I mean, they've earned it. So I don't know why, if y'all can figure out, if it doesn't create a cluster, you know, as to how it would be done,
We currently accrue sick time at each payroll. We currently accrue 3.08 hours per payroll.
Okay.
So.
Would it be able to
it's just
also?
It's just working with our software provider.
Yeah, we can very easily do
Okay.
that.
I mean, I think it would be,
So would you give them immediately, as soon as they've earned 8 hours, they can take off a day, or would you do it after 90 days, kind of like we do our healthcare? We gotta wait 90 days to,
well, if you wait 90 days, let's just say in the first 30 days, they've occurred 4 hours, and then in 90 days, they've occurred a day and a half, and they leave at day 91 and find and go somewhere else. I don't think they should lose that, but I think they should be able to take it once they've incurred, either in increments of a half day for timekeeping purposes. I'm not saying that you start letting people take an hour here, 2 hours there, because that'd be a nightmare trying to keep up with 300 plus employees. But at a half a day or a full day, I'd say once they occurred 8 hours of leave, whether it's in the 80th day or the 120th day, if they had a need to take a day, then to me, it's theirs. They've earned it. So I think they should be able to use it and not be restricted Because are you gonna pay them when they leave if they've got a couple of days occurred? Do they get paid for that day when they separate?
My recommendation, right now, the way we do it is they get paid for 2 years' worth. So if they are accruing 10 days per year, they'll get paid for 20 days' worth.
If they don't take any?
Correct. And so what I would recommend, if we make this change, is for them not to get paid for vacation until they've been here for a year. So even though they've accrued it, I don't think they should get paid for it until they've,
Well, I think that's something that y'all could work out, you know, in the case that they separate within that 12-year period. You know, and like you were talking about, somebody that's been here for 11 months and 2 weeks, they didn't separate, they just needed time off. Well, he had to take non-paid. Well, he basically had already earned probably 9 or 9.5 days, you know, that he should have had, in my opinion. I think that's something that to me, it's taking care of your employees.
right.
And I don't think it's fair, and I don't like to use the word fair, but I just don't think it's a good policy for us to punish an employee that has occurred that time because he's been here for 6, 8, 10 months or whatever. But yet they don't get it because they hadn't been here a year, just like the case you talked about. I mean, I think that's wrong.
Right.
You know, so I'd like to see us change it, if y'all can work out the logistics of it, as to how. I don't have a problem with somebody not being paid prior to being here a year and a day or whatever, but that, you know, if they separate, but I just don't think that under the system, I would prefer to see us figure out how we can occur it by payday, and then once they've occurred, either in 4 hours, like I say, either 4 hours or a full day, then they apply to take it off with the department head just like anywhere else, you know?
Right.
I mean, if you're in a bad situation, or he can be denied because of the need from the department. I mean, that's their decision, you know, but I'd like to see us be able to do that for our employees.
Sure. Yeah, we can make that happen on
Yeah, I
the
just don't
payroll
want to-
side and on the policy side as well. And then another thing that I would like to do is to, instead of limiting 2 years, I would like to increase that number to either 480 hours or 720 hours.
On your accumulated time?
Yes, that you can keep on the books at one time. And part of that is because you want your employees to save their time in case something happens and they need to go out on family medical leave, if something happens to a family member or whatever. Right now, they're losing their time that they're saving, and then when it's time that they need it, it's not there for them. So I would like to, my goal would be to get them through an FMLA 12-week absence, to where between sick leave and vacation leave, if they save it all, they have enough time to get through, you know, some kind of serious medical condition.
You talking about a combination of the two or for each?
Well, we can kind of go through that as we're talking about this. You know, I definitely would place a limit on the time on the books. And whether that's 480 hours, 720 hours, or some other number.
Well, a 12-week FMLA event would be 480, correct?
Yes.
But what are we currently at?
As far as the number that they can accrue, it's 2 years worth. So it depends on how long they've been here. If they're earning 10 days a year, or if they're earning 12 or 15
Okay.
days a year. So that varies by tenure.
I'd be more in favor of the 720. I mean, I hate for somebody to earn it and then they don't get to keep it.
Well, you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have some employees that are gonna book it because of their age or their events or whatever. And then you're gonna have others that's gonna use it as soon as they earn it. And they'll never have anything on the books, unless it's maybe some sick leave time, you know, because, in a lot of instances, I don't know what we require, but I know in a lot of business, if, you know, you're absent on sick leave, well, you can't just take a day or 2 or 3 days of it. If you're off more than 2 days, then you got to bring a medical documentation in that says why you took it. I mean, it can't be used as an auxiliary leave
Right.
type situation. And to me, that's where you want people to store up time on that sick leave side for events that happen as they work through and age out like the rest of us have, that you have stuff that happens that you need to be off, for 2 weeks or 15 days or whatever. But I just don't wanna see us, I don't know exactly how it all works or how many hours we're currently sitting at or anything else, but I think that it'd be a good move, I think it's just good policy for us to take care of our employee instead of, I hate to see us penalize one.
Right.
Or ends up getting to the end of a year and says, ooh, I got to burn 60 hours or 80 hours, because if I don't take it, I'm gonna lose it.
Well, and that usually the ones that are affected most are your 24/7 operations. So your
Right.
deputies, dispatch, jailers, and Willoughby.
Don't those I thought we had already extended that time out at some point several years ago for the jailers and deputies that were on the 24.
They can, most employees can only have on the books from a comp time perspective, when we were accruing comp time was 240.
Okay,
The jailers were allowed 480.
okay. I knew that,
Comp time, we
That is
started
comp
that,
time.
we're starting to pay out.
yeah, we pay over,
overtime now.
well, yeah, in the jail, in
So
the
there was
sheriff.
a limit on comp time. The
Okay.
limit on vacation has always been based on 2 years of what you accrued.
Okay,
But that was comp time that they
Oh,
increased
so,
it
okay.
for the jailers and the
Okay.
deputies.
okay.
I guess that through all this discussion, I mean, you guys, we're not even a quarter of the way through here, but, I guess just take all these thoughts and maybe at some time soon come back to us with your suggestions to, redo our policy.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'll hush. What you saying?
Yeah. Okay, and I'm not recommending any change to the amount that we pay upon separation. So currently, we pay 2 years' worth if someone leaves, and I would keep that the same. Except again, I would write in there that you have to be here for a year before you're paid for any vacation time that you have accrued. Okay, sick leave. Right now, we are accruing 10 days per year, and I'd like to maybe look at moving that up to 15 days per year. We are allowed to use sick time for other family members in the immediate family or parents. So that's something to consider. It goes right along with the family medical leave and people having enough time on the books to get through something. Now, we do have the sick leave pool also, but that is a benefit that most people will never get to use because it's for catastrophic issues only. So that would be like a car wreck and you're incapacitated for, however long and you've run out of sick time. But that benefit is still there, and I'm not proposing any changes to it at this time.
On the sick leave pool, I've been here 8 years, and 3 employees have used it during that 8 years.
How does the sick pool build available time?
So every year during open enrollment, each employee has the option to donate however much time, 8 hours to 40 hours.
So anybody that was getting past or getting close to the 10-day or whatever restriction there was, and they were gonna earn 10 the following year, if they couldn't carry but say 8 over, then they could donate the 2 that they would earn over to the sick leave pool?
Currently, we can accrue 360 hours of
360.
sick time. And I would propose to move that to 480 or 720 also to match the vacation. Any other questions
How
on
does
sick?
this affect our
Liabilities?
audits where we've got a lot of time on the books?
Sick time does not impact that. We do not pay out sick time.
Okay.
Yeah, sick time doesn't, We do not pay out sick time, we do not, pay out any of the personal, the PTO days that we give. We only pay out holiday accrued, we pay out comp, and we pay out vacation.
Okay.
And again, the vacation's capped at 2 years' worth, so our
Yes.
liabilities are limited.
Okay.
So there's no unfunded
That's what
liability sitting out there that we would be responsible for.
And we still have several employees that, when, especially in the jails, in the sheriff's office, that still have a balance of, on comp time of 480 hours.
On the books.
And I think we have 5 employees that have accrued holidays when we were accruing the holidays. We no longer accrue holidays if they worked on the holiday. We now pay, if you work on the holiday, you get the hours you work plus the holiday pay. So we no longer accrue that, but there are still tenured employees that still have a balance on holiday.
There's no need for us to consider trying to pay that off earlier. I mean, it's gonna come at some point. Wait
Yeah,
till
it's
then.
pay now or pay later.
Right, I mean, it's.
But maybe it'll trickle in
Well, I guess
along
my
with.
Or maybe they
Yes.
use it in
If
the,
I'm sitting there with 480 hours, the only way I can get it is to quit or retire. It gives me an incentive to do one
Right,
of those.
well, one of my employees, she does have holiday accrued, but it's always a challenge to get her vacation in because she is a tenured employee. So she tends to use vacation because she'll lose it and keep the holiday because she doesn't lose the holiday, and she doesn't lose comp time. So she tends to use vacation more than the other two because it is a use it or lose it on the vacation.
Okay.
okay, and speaking of holiday, I've mentioned considering increasing holidays from 13 to 14. I've heard a lot of the employees have an issue with holidays that were taken away a few years ago. So it seems to come up every time there's a conversation about holidays. So I included that. Now, and I understand that not all of these are going to be viable options for us, but I've just tried to include as many different things that we can put together to enhance what we already have.
My personal thoughts, I mean, 13 holidays is pretty substantial, and I hate to keep adding to it because if we take off on every single little holiday and the public is, if they happen to be off and they need to come to town to go to the tax office or do something in the clerk's office, whatever, I hate for us to be closed. I mean, when they need us, I like for us to be open. That's just my thought.
Some of these holidays, the city is closed, and we're open, or we're open, and the city is closed. Banks are closed on some of these holidays, but yet we're open, I mean, if they come to town, most people, they need to go to the bank. Can't go on a holiday, you know, because they're closed. So we can't even make deposits if we're open and the banks are closed, if that makes sense to you.
Go ahead.
Don't we pretty well mirror the national, what's considered the national celebrated holidays?
So we got those.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and that's the 13 that we're sitting in now.
But yes, but there are other days that banks are closed, we're open. So I guess there's money left on the premises. You know, and if I'm not mistaken, every day we need to make those deposits because we're missing out on interest.
We've got a few days, I think, before we're required to make the deposit. So it's common that we hold money overnight already. But it would be interesting if you have the chance to make a list of all the holidays and the ones that the banks and post office may be closed. And we're open just to see. I mean, maybe there's some adjustment, you know, maybe there's
Sure.
something we need to do. But it'd be nice to look at it.
Okay, next is longevity pay. Currently, you have to be here for 3 years, and then you start to receive longevity pay. We pay $60 a year, so your first longevity payment is gonna be based off of $180. So we do go back and recoup the prior years, but I would propose that we reduce that waiting time to 1 year. So once you're here for a year, you get $60. And it makes things, it simplifies things when we're working on the slot list and when we're budgeting, and I think people would like to get the money faster if possible. And then you may have seen that I sent out a survey through SurveyMonkey, and I ended up having 174 responses from employees, which I thought was really good. And I asked them the question of, would you prefer to keep your longevity payment the same way it is now, which is being paid biweekly? So if you haven't been here very long, you might be getting $6.92 per pay period. Or would you rather have it in a lump sum one time a year? And the results, as we were going through, were kind of neck and neck, but as it ended up, let's see here, longevity, 47% said that they would rather have it in a lump sum annually, 29% per pay period, and 24% said it didn't matter.
So you're talking about the first year person, you get a lump sum check for $60 less tax withholdings.
Yes.
I mean, that's, if it was a couple thousand and you wanted to do it at November 15th, give them a month before Christmas, something like that, that would make sense to me. But I guess I wouldn't try to have a whole nother check run for $60.
Well, and of course, everyone is accruing at a different, depends on their years of service, so, and I think we had discussed that we would not have a separate check run. It would be as part of one paycheck.
It's part of a regular check run, based off our payroll period and schedule. The IRS looks at it differently than if it's a special check run. They consider that it should be taxed at a higher bracket. But with with our pay schedules, the tax bracket is a moot point because it's not going to really impact anyone's taxing and what they bring home. But we did talk about just including it on just one specific payroll each year and not have a special check run.
I guess that's my only thought. I mean, with it not being such a huge amount, I wouldn't cause myself a lot of extra trouble.
Well, but some people are getting $1,500 a year, so, and people are at every level in between.
Well, I've been involved in the school setting, back years ago. We started, it's not a bonus, but because you can't pay bonuses with tax money. But when they broke for Thanksgiving, they got a yearly check. And they've been doing it now for about 10, 11 years. And it's, the first year I was involved with it, and to be in the auditorium when they passed out checks to the 80 or 90 or 100 teachers that was in the system, and to see everybody, the response that they give, because for most of them, or not, or a lot of them, it was given to them, and they were able then to go on the Black Friday after Thanksgiving, and their deal was now they had money for Christmas for their kids. And that's stuck with me for a long time, because you don't think about how big an impact it had on a lot of them lives. So I'm kind of like the judge as far as somebody that's just got a couple of years. You're talking about $60 or $120. But if you're talking about somebody that's been here for 15 or 20 years or whatever or longer, and they're getting $1,500, which is the max is $1,500, for them to get that in one check there at the end of November when Black Friday's happening and all the sales for Christmas are on, is pretty earth-shattering for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I
Well, if you're able to do this without any extra difficulty, and you're doing these things for morale, I guess that adds a lot of weight to it. So I'd agree with Commissioner Ebar. I mean, if my first thought is, don't cause us any extra work, not me, y'all payroll, any extra work. But if it's not a big deal and it helps morale,
Well, you don't know whether it will or it won't because you got such a wide range, $60 to $1,500, for a big percent of them that's been here a long time, it will be big. But
of course, it's
for-
not a separate check either. It's
No, I
supposed
know,
to be
but I
included
mean,
in your payroll,
But it might well be a separate check if your check that month ends up $1,200 or $1,400 more than what it usually is on, I think it'd be great, but you either gonna have to do it the whole gamut. I mean, it'd be a nightmare to let the employees have the option.
Yeah.
Do you want it every payday or do you want it in a one time? The cost is gonna be the same for us, whether we do it, it'll just be,
What if you put a break on it?
uh,
When it's down low?
That would make it more complicated.
Yeah.
yeah. So.
I'm okay with just.
I
doing
think,
the
just
annual
look
payment.
at it, y'all get together and see if it's something that, I don't see what difference it makes. I mean, 47% out of, and the next closest you said was 20-something%, wasn't it? So, I mean, you're talking about almost half your employees say they'd like to have it, and the other 20% said no, and then the other 20% said didn't matter one way or the other. So really, you're looking at 75% of your employees almost.
Sure. And I look at it like this. If you're getting $6.92 a paycheck, then, I mean, you can buy
Cup of
a
coffee.
Starbucks. But if you get $180, you can buy a TV, And then for people that don't save well, it's kind of a forced little
Yeah.
savings account. So,
Sounds good.
okay.
Sherry had a point, I think.
I have one question about that.
Mhm.
What about if you're planning retirement? Is that gonna push all your retirees to wait until they get that check?
Maybe.
And then all your retirees are gonna retire in November, December?
People like to retire at the end of the year
Depends on how bad
anyway.
you want to retire bad enough or not.
But what I'm just thinking is if, you have it on here that you have to be employed the day of, are you gonna exclude people eligible for retirement on that? Or is that just total employment? That's my.
No, that would be everyone.
That
but-
would be my
Be
question.
present to win.
People retire at the end of the year typically anyway, so I don't see that as being, maybe we should look at it like this, we get to keep them at least through whatever date in November,
If I'm gonna retire, I'm ready to go.
It wouldn't hurt when y'all quit in December, so
Well, when we get unelected, we're gonna leave on January first.
That's right. Got to be present to win.
Okay, and then some other things that I've included, maybe some paid time off for employees who want to volunteer, maybe like at the nursing home or at the food pantry. I can't think of any other examples, maybe if they want to adopt a highway and pick up trash on the side of the road or things like that. I would put a limit on that to maybe like 4 hours or 8 hours a year. Also in the survey, behind eliminate the use it or lose it policy is birthday time off, PTO, one PTO day for your birthday every year. Becky and I talked about that. We're not sure logistically if we can do it in the system to where it automatically adds, on someone's birthday every year. So we'll have to look further into that, but that's something to consider also. Tuition reimbursement for approved degree plans. That could be maybe someone who works in district clerk's office who is trying to get into law school, or someone who's working in the auditor's office who is, you know, pursuing a degree in accounting.
I think that's great. I mean, certainly if we can't pay for a whole degree, but we could, pay some and encourage people to do that. That just helps we get a more educated employee. So I'm fine with
Sure.
that.
A lot of times, the cap is $1,000 or $2,000 per year, or sometimes it's capped per semester.
We got a comment from the lady in the back.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking in my office kind of, but what about people who, for instance, we use a lot of Excel now and our new Word and all that. Would that help to be an incentive to pay for some classes for that, like at TSTC or
Get
Panoma,
a degree in
or not?
Not
To
really.
improve their job
it.
skills?
Is that a
No,
business?
I've got that in a different section.
A business degree. That would be part of, would that be part of a business degree?
Well, she's gonna address that separately.
Okay.
Here in a minute.
Well,
Alright.
now the degree, business degree, it could, depending on what type of office, you know, you
Okay.
work in, or, we can craft the policy however we want to. So we just have to kind of think it through, and, you know, you can't, we don't want to pay for a degree in basket weaving or something trivial like that.
Right.
But something that's relevant to county government, I could see that would apply. Okay, employee discounts for places like Sam's or the bank. Maybe, I'll talk about this later, but also gym memberships could be discounted. So I met with the bank, with Cadence Bank last week actually, and they've got a promotion that they want to pass on to the employees. So if we collect, you know, several different types of discounts, then we can have those available for employees also.
So would you go to all our area banks or?
Well, they came to me, so, you know, if someone wants to offer that, then I don't see why we can't just keep a list of available opportunities for discounts.
Sounds good.
Okay, training and learning opportunities. I did not ask for this year because there is a cost involved with this, but there are different types of, like, learning databases or apps that you can purchase that will have thousands and thousands of training topics. And usually they're, you know, some kind of a webinar or computer-based training, and if each employee is given a login, then they can craft their own management track or an accounting track or Excel and Word and some of the regular software programs that we would use. Usually the cost is somewhere around like $20,000, so it is pricey. But I didn't have enough time this year to pursue which one would be the best option and get prices. So that's on my schedule for next year. And an online suggestion box where you can go and you can make an anonymous suggestion. Just some way to communicate and be heard. Okay, health, safety, and wellness. I would like to pursue changing our insurance eligibility to after 60 days instead of 90 days. There was a thread going around on the TAC listserv of some other counties, and we were the only one as to those that responded that had a 90-day waiting period as opposed to 60 or less.
So most of them were 60?
Most of
or
them
less?
were either 60 or the first of the month after your 60th day of employment. That,
So people do that because insurance companies, they like to have a cutoff, but we're self-insured, so we can put somebody on when we want to.
correct.
Is that right? So
Yeah.
we could, if we wanted to make it 60 days after you've been here,
Mhm.
we can do it.
Yep. And it really helps when, you know, on the recruitment side, when you have someone that either has a family member with a medical problem or someone who takes a lot of prescriptions. Like, you can kind of squirrel away enough prescriptions sometimes to get through 60 days, but 90 days is pretty tough to do. I have talked with George Harmon from the Nietzsche Group the last couple of years about developing some kind of wellness program, but we haven't done that yet. It's kind of complicated, you know. Do you do incentivized? You know, do you track when the employees meet standards or have a physical or what? So that's something that we're working on. It probably won't happen before next year.
You and I have talked about getting an employee to go do a physical every year is probably the best preventative. It helps you catch things before it's a problem. And maybe if you have an employee that their appointment is next Tuesday, let them have the whole day off, or half a day if they go at 2 o'clock, let them leave at noon and they got the rest of the day off. Something like that to encourage them to go get their physical by giving them half a day or a whole day, whatever.
Yes.
Well, they have that option now to get a free physical every year at B&D. I mean,
That's
that's
right.
part of the plan.
Well,
that
you
we,
can go
you know.
anytime for anything.
Yeah,
for free.
but I'm just saying, I mean, a full-blown physical, you know, I mean, you go in and they run the labs and the stuff.
So that's not gonna cost us anymore. The only cost will be letting them off
Yeah.
during the day. And we're already budgeted to pay them. We'd just be shorthanded in whatever office that did that. So obviously have to be something coordinated with their supervisor.
Correct.
But, I think that's a good incentive to go get your physical.
Yeah, exactly. And there may be other ways to incentivize that, you know, besides just paid time off. I don't know what they would be yet, but
Also, I know some jobs here at Marshall that give incentives to employees. For instance, if you have a child that you need to take to the doctor, you take that child to the doctor, come back to work, they'll continue to pay you for the rest of that day. You know, you won't lose time for taking off. Or if you having a doctor's appointment and you go to the doctor, come back to work and you don't lose time.
Right.
That's an incentive that some employees give.
yeah, definitely a lot of different options to consider with a wellness program of any
I don't know
sort.
how many people have little ones that, you know.
Okay, the next one is one of my favorites, actually. There was a new law that's passed a couple of years ago called the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and it's got some provisions that are similar to the Americans with Disabilities Act, which pregnancy is not considered a disability under the ADA. So it has its own law now, and as a good faith effort to, you know, promote the benefits of that act, I thought about a pregnant employee parking spot that does not have to cross the street. So like maybe somewhere over on the side where Central Title is, and that way they can just walk that way. It's much safer than crossing the street, you know, with the traffic and such. Also, paid maternity leave came up a few times in the survey. So, you know, again, if we're increasing the sick leave and the vacation time, we may not have as much of a need for that, so I would limit it at a lower amount, such as 40 hours, if we decided to do that. Enhanced Employee Assistance Program. Right now, I think ours is through Mutual of Omaha, and they allow you 3 visits per year, I think, to a telehealth counselor if you have, you know, marital or family issues or whatever other kind of mental health issues that might be surfacing. Some of these programs will go steps farther as to have like a financial counselor, a legal service that, you know, you can get some easy type of legal advice, forms and things like that. So I'd like to explore some of the different programs that are available. And same with the enhanced mental health benefits. Don't know what those would look like exactly, but I will talk with George from the Nietzsche Group as we are entering our insurance renewals and get more information about that. Discounted gym membership we talked about above. And then in the events section, we have, we're planning to bring back an annual employee event. It may not be exactly what it was, and instead of doing it in December, I'd like to do it in October. And that could be part of, we could wrap it in with the whole budget, new budget year, budget kickoff, you know, it's a way to educate employees about what's going on with the county, what's, you know, what type of road projects or big events that we have planned in the budget, and just a way to communicate. We have reserved one night on December 9th for Employee Night at Wonderland of Lights, so employees can bring their families that night. And pop-up events several times throughout the year, like the Kona Ice Truck that we had a few weeks ago. We had good participation with that also. I think over 200 snow cones were had. And then something I don't think that we've done, at least recently, is employee newsletter. And that, again, would be something that would come out at the beginning of October. It would have a calendar, it might have election schedule, just a lot of different pieces of information that is important to employees. And then a 10-year luncheon with county dignitaries. I like this one because this is where we could recognize the service awards, and it would be kind of a catered type of event and lunch with you guys. Have the opportunity to interact with you guys and get to know y'all too. And then last but not least is hours of work. Some offices already work outside of the normal 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So maybe we look at 410s for some offices, 36-hour work weeks to where, you know, they're maybe off half a day on Friday. I don't know what offices this might work for just yet, because I haven't talked to any of the department heads, of course, but just something to think about. And that's all I have. You guys are welcome to let me know if you have any other questions, if you want to meet with me, if you have some concerns about anything on this, or if you have your own ideas yourself and we could implement, you know, something else.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to put all this together and kind of just taking what you've heard today and maybe working on a new policy, and let's get back together and talk about it and see what works. And let's do it. I think it's great to be thinking about benefits that for our employees. So we want it to be a good place to work as good as we can.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Weatherall, I think you're next on our budget.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for allowing me to be here again today to discuss budget for Precinct 3 Constable. Couple items I'd like to address. One is on the radio repair. Last year, this court budgeted a little over $16,000 for new radios for the new radio system. As of today, we still have not received those. I have been in communication with the Sheriff's Office numerous occasions, cannot get no straight answer as to when we may be getting those. Last year, when we put this money in the budget, we were told that there was no grant money available for the constables to get radios, so this court gave us the money to purchase those. Since that time, I've been told that, no, we do have grant money available. I don't know that to be 100% true. So in my budget for this year, I have re-requested the little over $16,000 for radios, just in case we don't get them in the current year, and if the money is not in the grant, that at least money is there to purchase those. If it goes through to next year and the grant money is there for them, then obviously that money will come back to the court. So that was a big item on the budget. Also, I requested that my travel last year was reduced to $600. And I think part of that is due to the court looking at the LEOS money that's out there as well. I'm requesting that be back raised to the $1,700 that it was 2 years ago for training purposes. This coming year will be mandatory training for my 40-hour training, plus we'll have the state convention, plus as y'all are aware of, the state is constantly adding new mandated training for all law enforcement, and in the constables, they've actually added more mandated training to us as elected constables than our sheriffs and deputies. So there is a lot more training that they're now requiring that we attend. You know, that LEOS money only goes so far as well. And then,
Are you certain that you don't have enough LEOS money to cover that?
oh, yes, sir. Yeah, if I would have went to, which I did not attend my state conference this year, which was held in El Paso, Texas. If I would have went to El Paso for my state conference this year, I wouldn't have any money. I mean, there wouldn't be no money available. Time I went to El Paso and paid for the conference, paid for hotels, travel, per diem and all that, there just wouldn't be no money. Matter of fact, I've had to already move a little bit of money to cover that $600 that the county had because of some training stuff. So that $600 is just, I mean, it's just not enough to cover all the training that's being required. So I'm requesting that be raised back up to the $1,700. I'd also like to look at our uniform allowance. I asked that it go from $500 to $600. We've not had an increase in our uniform allowance since I took office in 17, excuse me. I think that has remained $500 from the get-go, and as we all know, things constantly go up. Clothing is not the same price, so I just asked that possibility to look at that going from $500 to $600. The only other real big item, once again, is salary. My current salary is $43,172. That's the base salary. The constables are the lowest paid elected official in this county by almost $9,000. When we look at the JPs, who are the next salary bracket, we're looking at almost $9,000. If we look at the $43,000 that the constables make, that's roughly $7,000 to $8,000 less than a beginning deputy here in this county. That's about $2,000 less than our jailers are making. And I understand SB 22 played a part in some of that. But still, this court at some point in time needs to realize, I know there's been discussions over the years that this court has some issues with some of the constables for working outside of the county, separate jobs. But I don't think there's not one of you sitting up there or any elected official in this county, if they didn't have a second income could survive on $43,000 a year. As Constable Precinct 3, this is my full-time job. And if I did not have a retirement that I'm fortunate enough to have, there's no way I could do this. So in order to try to reel back some of the complaints from this court on some of these other officers that may be working outside, we got to look at salaries. If we can get the salary to where a person possibly wouldn't have to rely on second jobs, then maybe we could see more retention or see them more active in our communities, more active in their courts. So I have proposed an increase to $50,000 for Constable Precinct 3. That is still going to put that salary below the starting salary of a deputy. As I had explained previously, as the elected constable, you know, I am responsible for receiving, dispersing all civil process that comes into my office. I'm responsible for all my own reports to the state that's required on Chapter 59, Attorney General reports. There's other reports. I have no secretary. I'm my own secretary. So I'm in charge of doing all of my own secretarial work as well. So I would just ask this court to really consider the work that the constables do. We get told from time to time again that, you know, what role do the constable play? We play a very vital role in our judicial systems. People don't necessarily understand the amount of civil process that goes through, especially in my office. I average roughly 300 papers a year in civil service. That does not count all the court appearances. That does not account for all the phone calls and stuff that I do. People calling, the sheriff's department has started referring more and more people to the constable's offices on civil problems. So on a daily basis, I'm returning 2 to 3 phone calls from citizens discussing with them issues on civil issues and the proper steps to deal with them and how to go through with them and so forth. So our offices are very busy. A lot of times you don't see the things we do. But there is a lot going on with the constable, especially in Precinct 3. Another reason why I asked for the increase in the travel, as you aware, I believe it's in 21, Alzheimer's Alliance came to this court, and the county got into an agreement, a new agreement on Project Lifesaver. I think it was in 2021, where myself, my office, Sheriff's Department, Marshall PD, and Hallsville PD all signed on to participate in Project Lifesaver, where a person with Alzheimer's, dementia, autistic people and so forth could be outfitted with it's like a watch, but it's a radio frequency device. So if they wander off, they can be tracked. As of today, I am the only electronic certified specialist in this county other than Hallsville PD. So, and there are 2 or 3 individuals. There's a total of 4 currently in Harrison County that are on these devices, and they're spread out. Most of them are on the west end of the county. This past week we did outfit a elderly lady out off of 5 Notch with one of these devices. So there's an opportunity to attend their training in Orlando, Florida this coming year, which maybe I would possibly like to entertain to this court to go to get some more updated training on on the Project Lifesaver event. So that's not a guarantee, but that's sort of the one reason also why I asked for the additional revenue, in case that does turn out. I'd come back to this court with the possibility of permission to attend that training in Orlando, Florida. Other than that, basically the budget is same as it has been the last few years. Questions?
I don't have anything for you, but I appreciate you coming in and
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for everything y'all do.
all the details. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else would like to speak on their budget today, have comments during our workshop? Yes, ma'am, come on. Ms. Griffiths.
The only comment I have, I just received from the guy from Southwest about my rolling cabinets that we had discussed earlier in the budget. And, you know, I told you if we got 5, it would be $70,000, and then it'll be additional, though, to get rid of everything. After I got back to my office and I was discussing again with him cutting back to 3, and he gave me a bit of that, 42,000 plus getting rid of the cabinets would be a little bit additional. My thinking with 3 is our judges right now like the paper copies. But in the future, when we don't have the same judges, I have a feeling, I know getting more now might sound better, but I have a feeling with e-file and everything else that's coming along, we're going to finally be mandated to go digital. And I really believe that in the near future. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. But I would hate to get 5 cabinets and then they sit there empty because we're going digital now, you know, in the future. Right now, my judges are not going to go digital. That is fine with me. I'm good with that. But you don't know what the technology is going to bring in the future for our offices. So I'm going to recommend we only get 3 of those cabinets this time, mainly because I really believe that we're coming to the digital age more and more in the courts. I mean, we have some courts that use AIs right now. So we've got some counties that are doing AIs for clerks. So, you know, it's coming to that process, and I really appreciate y'all willing to do the 70,000 and all, but I really think if we do the 45 in my preservation, that we should have enough to cover 3 cabinets, and it might go over just a little bit, but I could come back to the court at that time, and it won't be till January till they're installed. That's their first date they have available is sometime in January. So I just wanted to kind of give y'all that information, and I will send you over the quote for the 42,000, and that's why I wanted to kind of give y'all a little update on that. That's how I feel that we should probably go with the 3 instead of the 5.
Did they give you any guesstimation as what they charge you to dispose of the old ones?
I don't think it's going to be that much more. I mean, at the most, it could be, he said $5,000 or so, if that much. If that much. He said he's not sure about it, but he will get a quote to add that on there. So when I get that, so it could be up to 50 maybe, at the most, is what he was thinking.
Up
So
to what?
50, up to 50.
Oh,
To do the whole thing. That'll be them coming in, putting new tracks down, putting the new flooring down. You know, we'll have to get the flooring up that's there. Of course, Brad Thomas and them are willing to do that and help us with it and get the old stuff all taken off and redo the flooring part right there. He's already talked to me about that and said that, you know, he would be willing to fix whatever we need to get the floors to match and things like that.
So they're gonna have to remove all the old track and cases to redo the floor anyway. Why couldn't we just put it on a trailer and haul it to the scrap yard?
We could.
Instead of paying somebody
We
$3,000,
could.
$4,000, $5,000, I mean, we wouldn't get much for it, but it still wouldn't cost us anything to get rid of it at the scrap yard.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, maybe,
Let me just get the quote with them getting rid of it, and then y'all can maybe look at both,
well,
okay?
that's up to y'all. I mean, y'all the ones that gonna handle it. You know, y'all tell us what y'all need.
It's gonna be Brad Thomas
Well, I
handling
mean,
it.
I
can't
know
handle
what
it.
Brad's answer is.
Brad's
but
gonna
it's
be,
the same.
Brad's gonna be, please let somebody take it
He'll do
off.
what, yeah, but I'm
No,
just saying, you know, it might be worth that
Yeah.
$4,000 to not have to mess with it, and they'll come in and they'll.
Exactly, and it's gone. Mhm.
So I see we have 50,000 right now in your preservation fund, and you think 50 will cover the whole
I
thing?
think it will, I really do. If not, and I see something's gonna come up with that, or Brad does, then if it's okay, we'll come back to the court at that time and address any additional.
Well, I mean, it's easy to increase this, because this is your
It's
fund.
my
You got-
preservation
you got
fund.
100,000 in there.
Right.
We could put 70,000.
You wanna do
Still, I
that,
mean,
that's
if-
fine.
If you don't spend it, it doesn't go anywhere.
It'll stay right there for next year. That'll be great.
Okay.
After mowing season, I think that'd be a real good job for Sergeant Hayne and his crew to help you up with that cleanup. They've got a big trailer, gonna get a new truck,
Oh, that'd be good.
and it's not that far to East Texas Scrap Salvage, so consider Sergeant Haynes.
Maybe we could, schedule that with him at the time they're coming to replace them and everything with the guy that's coming, and that may all work out just fine. Because he said it would be first available to install would be in January of '26.
I think
So,
you'd be safe to tell them that we probably dispose of it, unless it's just like $200.
yeah, then we'll say, okay, take it. Take it with you. That'll be great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Cooch to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. It's 11:32.